Welcome to the last day of June 2023. We're halfway through the year. Your Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Well, it's really more of the same, but there are some subtle differences today, which will lead to cool temperatures across a large part of the region, more shower and thunderstorm activity. So we're going to see more thunderheads, more clouds building up, billowing up, and more threats for severe weather in the region, much like we've seen really all week, and especially the last 2 weeks. Just a lot of severe weather. Cooler conditions were going to be found today as a trough of low pressure is swinging through. So this is going to lead to a good chance for shower and thunderstorm activity, especially east of the divide, which has really been the case here all week. The action's been along and east of the divide. A little bit of the west of the divide yesterday did see some showers and thunderstorms. Now, we do have severe weather risk again, but the risk is going to be shifting a little more south and a little more east. So into southern Colorado, into Kansas, then into the Corn Belt and Midwest is, I think, where the more active severe weather will be, as temperatures are actually going to be cool enough to ratchet back the severe weather threat in some areas that have had daily severe weather. Now, temperatures are going to rebound for the weekend. Now, we're also not going to see as many thunderstorms as Saturday. I'm not saying there won't be any thunderstorms. There just will be a considerable amount less of activity with the drier, stable air behind the front. However, return moisture comes back in. And what this will mean is we're back into afternoon and evening thunderstorms, especially east of the divide, Sunday through the 4th of July Tuesday. The 4th of July Tuesday, we may end up with a severe weather threat. That is something for the 4th of July we'll need to keep an eye on. So make sure you tune in Monday as that thunderstorm threat on Tuesday goes up, and they could be stronger because another front will approach about during that time frame. Some shots of big, huge thunderheads again yesterday. This from Foxborough, west of Laramie in the Snowy Range yesterday. Up around the Wright area, another round of heavy thunderstorm activity in southern Campbell County and all across the eastern plains. Another shot of Gillette of building shower and thunderstorm activity. That a big thunderhead viewed south of Cheyenne last night before those overnight thunderstorms came into the capital city. You notice that distinct line right there. What's going on? Well, that is a shadow from another building cloud and a thunderhead you can't see in this photo. Thunderstorm growing so tall that it's casting a large shadow. And they'll do that. You'll especially see that over the long stretching anvil tops that block the sun and cause a big shadow on the ground. This morning's satellite photo, you swear that this is the one I showed you yesterday and the one I showed you before, because the weather pattern just keeps repeating. The thunderstorms develop in the high plains and along the east slopes of the Rockies. Then they work their way out into the plains and Corn Belt, and here we go again. This will look just like the podcast for the last several days. The same area, across Nebraska, heading in the Corn Belt, getting another round of showers and thunderstorms and much needed rain heading into the Corn Belt region from these showers and thunderstorms. As we take a look at where the trough is going to be, this is for noon today. See that it's moving finally? All week it's been back here. So it's finally moving and it's right on top of us. This is why the severe weather threat is going to be kind of more down into this area today, with cool air coming in along this trough. Many areas today across Wyoming, even some parts of Colorado, might not even leave the 60s today. Going to be quite cool as this trough comes on through. Now, this trough is going to kind of penetrate this high a little bit, maybe bring some modest relief to the heat in the south, but it's also going to trigger severe weather, as you'll see here in a minute, in the Midwest. These are the temperature anomalies by noon today. So you can see this region. The exception will be Montana, southern Canada, along the west coast into the south, kind of some cold sandwiched in some heat down here and some heat here and some heat here. So there's going to be heat in the west, but in the middle of the west, not so much. Temperatures will be well below average. This is where the shower and thunderstorm coverage will be by later today. You can see it's going to be across West Texas, down into a southern Colorado, northwest Kansas area, and then into parts of the Corn Belt and Midwest, but also on the east side of the Rockies in northern Montana and Alberta, out into Saskatchewan, some showers and thunderstorms as well. This is where the severe weather risk is higher today. This arch of severe weather right here is where the worst of the storms will be, which means a southern shift. It's been up more north along and centered along I-90 and I-80. Now, more shifting south and east because the trough is moving, pushing everything a little bit more south and east. This is by noon Sunday. The trough is in the Great Lakes. The high pressure gets suppressed, but notice high pressure now is building into the Great Basin, building in some heat into California. The desert state's going to be heating on up. Some of that heat, some of the warmer temperatures will be getting into the Rockies. But notice up here, we still have a lot of weather up into the Gulf of Alaska, up there in the Aleutians, up into Western Canada. And this will be what we'll be watching for the 4th of July. What this means is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and probably for most of Tuesday, warmer temperatures will move back in. This is the thunderstorm forecast for Saturday. So notice we have two distinct areas. The monsoon, we'll talk about that here in a minute, starting in Mexico finally, and then this arch of severe weather into the central and southeastern areas of the United States. Some thunderstorms up in the western areas of Canada, up into Montana and North Dakota. But there will be an area right here where the coverage and the amount of thunderstorm activity will be less tomorrow. So a little bit of a break in that area I just circled, because that area I circled, especially east of the mountains, has just been hit relentlessly with heavy rain, hail, and tornadoes day after day here this week. So there's a little bit of a modest break Saturday. And this is where the severe weather risk is Saturday. More towards the Midwest and the eastern part of the United States and parts of the Southeast. That's where the severe weather is going to be. The lighter shade of green just means your garden variety thunderstorms. This is where we're going to be on Sunday. Notice this north-south axis. This is going to continue to be kind of the trend with the thunderstorms this weekend. So if you're on the western slope of Colorado, western Wyoming, western Montana here, you've got less thunderstorm activity to worry about. It'll be much less as the air will be much drier. But there's going to be a feed of moisture coming up from the south here. And with daytime heating, you're going to get back into these afternoon and evening thunderstorms. So this is Sunday. This is the severe weather risk for Sunday. So we have some marginal areas where thunderstorm activity picks up again, and you can see more thunderstorm activity going into the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley there. And then this is for Monday. Thunderstorms do get a little bit more west of the divide. So Monday, there's a bit of an uptick. Thunderstorm activity becomes a bit more widespread. By the 4th of July, Tuesday, we have another trough and a front right here approaching. This is on noon Tuesday. So the timing of this front is late Tuesday afternoon and evening, which means with that flow of moisture coming up along and east of the divide, we may very well have a risk for severe weather on the 4th of July in these areas right here. So we're going to have to watch that. We could have some severe weather on the 4th of July, late afternoon and evening. Hopefully they'll be done by the time the fireworks display goes up. But you can see where the concentration is. Again, it's along the Front Range and just east of the Front Range where that thunderstorm risk will be the highest. These thunderstorms will continue overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning out on into the plains. So this goes without saying. As you plan your 4th of July weekend, if you're going to be in the mountains and east of the divide, Front Range, out in the plains, that's where the thunderstorm risk is going to be the highest. However, there will be times the mountains and west of the divide will get into isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms as well. So you just need to plan on them. Take advantage of the mornings before these afternoon clouds build into these late day showers and storms. Notice by Tuesday, look at all the thunderstorm activity now in central and northwest Mexico. Finally, we're getting the monsoon kicking into gear. Why? Well, if you tuned in a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the monsoon and how it's tied to sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of California, and you've got to get to be 26 degrees Celsius or higher for that moisture to get into the air to help feed the monsoon thunderstorms. Well, we finally have gotten it. The northern part of the Gulf of California that was really cool this spring because of the cold winter is finally warming up. And you see the sea surface temperatures rising here, getting above 29, 30 degrees Celsius. So you've got the warmer waters now. So the desert southwest monsoon season, especially by next weekend, kicks into gear. And you can see that in the precipitable water forecast. See all the green here in Mexico, getting into Arizona, getting into the Four Corners region. So by next weekend, this part of the country right here, which has really had not a lot of thunderstorm activity, is going to start to see it finally kick into gear. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll update you on Monday.